Israeli forces have pushed across the southern part of Gaza in what the military says are limited and precise attacks targeting Hamas militants. The U.S. says it will not support Israel's operation there without a, quote, credible plan to protect civilians. Israel's military is ordering displaced Gazans to evacuate parts of Rafah. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan called on Israel to do more to protect Palestinians.
Israel has an unusual, even unprecedented burden in fighting this war because Hamas uses hospitals and schools and other civilian facilities for military purposes and has built a vast network of military tunnels under civilian areas. That puts innocent civilians in the crossfire. It does not lessen Israel's responsibility to do all it can to protect innocent civilians. 4, we believe Israel can and must do more to ensure the protection and well-being of innocent civilians. We do not believe what is happening in Gaza is a genocide. We have been firmly on record rejecting that proposition.
And our Nancy Cordes is at the White House with more. Nancy, good to see you. Thanks for being here. So how else is the administration responding to this Israeli operation?
Well, they're warning once again that Israel should not launch any kind of large-scale ground offensive in Rafah, particularly not without providing some kind of plan, which the U.S. insists it still has not seen, to protect civilians there. And over the weekend, the Secretary of State actually went a step further, Caitlin, and in a pair of interviews on the Sunday shows, he basically said that he's seen no credible plan from the Israelis for what comes next after this conflict, how they want to see this power vacuum in Gaza filled if they are successful in getting rid of most of Hamas. If they don't do that, he said, they are setting themselves up to inherit an insurgency with many armed Hamas left, or a vacuum filled by chaos, anarchy, and possibly eventually refilled by Hamas. So the administration getting much more outspoken about the fact that U.S. leaders don't believe that Israel has done the hard work of trying to figure out what comes next that looks better than what we had before.
And Nancy, I'm curious what this means for the president's relationship with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in all of this. I know they spoke recently, but what's the latest there?
Well, Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor, said today that their relationship now is what it has always been, which is direct and straightforward, and they're open with each other about their differences, and nothing that that U.S. officials have been saying over the past couple of days will take Netanyahu by surprise, because these are all the things that they say they've been saying to him privately, and that the president has been saying to him privately for weeks, if not months. It's just that that they're not satisfied with the response that they are getting from Israel, and so now they're trying to up the pressure by saying these things more bluntly and more publicly.
And Nancy, just quickly, did Sullivan identify any areas in which Israel seems to be listening to the U.S. criticism?
Well, you know, there was a lot of talk today over humanitarian aid, and Sullivan said that while they have made a little bit of progress with Israel getting some northern gates open in order to get more U.S. aid in that way, that definitely there is more of a bottleneck now in the south because the Israelis took over the Palestinian side of the Rafah crossing. So I guess it's, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, according to U.S. officials who were also alarmed, Caitlin, by the fact that a couple of humanitarian aid convoys have now come under attack by Israeli settlers as those convoys were on the way to gates in the north of Gaza. And Sullivan called that today utterly unacceptable. That's something that the U.S. is watching with great concern.
All right, and we will continue to watch as well. Nancy Cordes, thank you so much.
You're welcome.